Get ready to see that one play a whole lot this week. The Vikings are off to New Orleans for a playoff rematch 2 years in the making. The Saints, the home team this time around, and coming in hot. We have double the predictions because it's playoff season, but first we'll supply you with a side-by-side comparison of these two teams to help you come up with a prediction of your own. We have to start with Drew Brees and the Saints passing game because few have been as hot as they have been lately.
And now Brees to the end zone. What a catch by Jared Cook for another Saints touchdown.
Brees threw for 3 touchdowns in New Orleans' final game of the regular season, his season numbers looking pretty much like they always do. His TD total a little lower because he missed a few games earlier this season. Brees has a passer rating over 110 in 6 of his last 7 games, throwing 22 TD passes to just 1 pick in that span. His primary target, of course, is the new record holder for most catches in a regular season.
For the Saints, Brees with time to the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Thomas.
If there's been any slight knock against the Saints' aerial attack, it's that Michael Thomas doesn't have any help from any other receivers. But that's not to say Brees doesn't have other options. Alvin Kamara, a favorite of his out of the backfield, and tight end Jared Cook scored 9 TDs for them, so they do have different ways to attack a defense.
Down the sideline, and the former Titan takes it all the way.
So how does Minnesota's pass D stack up against those 3? Overall, they've given up 233.6 passing yards per game, which ranks 15th. Their rating against, though, is a respectable 86.1, so they're solid against the pass, though not spectacular. They've also been solid against backs as receivers. They allowed the 8th fewest receiving yards to running backs, so that could cover Kamara, while finishing 11th against tight ends, which is also plenty respectable. But the majority of the yards they gave up through the air went to receivers. They gave up the 8th most yards to wideouts, so that could spell big things for Thomas. And while the stats say they've been above average at preventing longer passes from dinging them, the one category they did not fare well in was completion percentage allowed, which they ranked 27th in. And the short, quick stuff is exactly what the Saints' offense is built around.
To the end zone for a Saints touchdown.
New Orleans was 3rd in yards after the catch this season, Brees ranking 2nd in quickest time from snap to throw, according to Next Gen Stats. His quick release also makes him tough to sack, the Saints allowing the 3rd fewest QB takedowns in the league. That will make things tough on Minnesota's sack master, Danielle Hunter.
Danielle Hunter just destroyed David Blau.
Hunter finished with 14.5 sacks, the 2nd year in a row he's had that many, and his partner Everson Griffin had 8, the duo helping the Vikings as a team end the year tied for 5th most in the NFL. But Minnesota was 25th in QB pressure, so they're plenty good at getting home, but they haven't spent enough time in the neighborhood, so to speak. The same is not true, however, of New Orleans' pass rush.
You see him get at least 20 touches. He has that in the 3rd quarter. And down goes Winston once again. Cameron Jordan.
Cam Jordan's 15.5 sacks led the Saints to both a 3rd place finish in sacks and a pressure rate that was 5th best. However, just as it's hard to get to Drew Brees, it's also been difficult to actually drag down Kirk Cousins, even if it's for a different reason.
Fake it to him. Cousins rolling, and then he throws, and Rudolph, can he one-hand it? Yes! Touchdown!
Cousins' numbers really started improving once the Vikings started employing more play action and bootlegs, so it's been more about deception and moving Cousins around than quick strikes. It makes sense then. The Vikings have the 5th highest passing yards per attempt average and 11th highest yards per completion average for the season, and that Stephon Diggs was Cousins' top target.
Cousins boots out to the left, passes to Diggs, caught! Touchdown!
But unlike Thomas, Diggs does have another big name lined up across from him, though Adam Thielen did miss some time down the stretch, making it back for Week 16, though he didn't do much in that game. But with Week 17 to rest his hamstring even more, the hope is he'll be closer to his normal self for this game. The Saints' passing defense, it gave up an 88.3 passer rating, pretty solid, but also fared poorly against wide receivers. They gave up the 7th most yards to wideouts. Like the Vikings, they were stronger against tight ends and running backs, and both those positions are big factors in the Vikings' passing game.
Cousins over the middle, complete to Rudolph. Rudolph, touchdown! Touchdown!
Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith combined for over 70 receptions, over 600 yards, and 8 scores. And as far as running backs who can catch, well, the Vikings had one of the most underrated in the game, mainly because he was so good when they just handed him the ball.
Here's a screen for Cook. Dalvin Cook. Still going.
Hello.
Looking for a block from Diggs.
Dalvin Cook quietly put together a season with over 50 catches and over 500 receiving yards. His rushing game, though, was anything but quiet, especially early on, as he was the heart of the Vikings offense with over 1,100 yards on the ground and punching it in 13 times.
Dalvin Cook says that way.
However, Cook has been dealing with an injured shoulder, and he hasn't averaged over 4 yards a carry in a game since Week 8. So Minnesota has to hope the week off last week will help him look more like first-half Cook than second-half Cook. Cook's prowess in the red zone is especially important, as it helped the Vikings cash in at the 8th highest rate in football, and the Saints' red zone D was 20th at stopping teams from finding pay dirt. So it's a numerical mismatch if Cook is firing on all cylinders. As a whole, New Orleans gave up 4.2 yards per carry on the ground, but no individual back broke the 100-yard rushing barrier against them all year. Okay, so the Saints have to hope to come up with an answer for Cook. The Vikings have to try and figure out how to slow Breeze down. You've got plenty of numbers to help you come up with a prediction of your own, so let's check out the ones our folks came up with.
Will he get it here? Yes! Touchdown pass,